So I want to talk Mel Tucker a little bit. I've heard you, I've heard you guys talk about him on here, and I think I agree with G's points the most. I want to lead off by saying credit to Michigan State for firing him in the fashion they did. I wish it was a little sooner, but I do understand why they did the investigation and they covered their bases and everything. And I want to say shame on Mel Tucker. At one point, he was the highest paid African American coach in sports history. So for him to do this really sets back a group of people that have a tough time getting to the position he's in anyway. So I want to say shame on him. Now I want to say shame on Michigan State too. This list of coaches, this list of coaches that they've come up with is absolutely insane. In my opinion, it signals that they're just like they're just okay being in basketball school. And Cart, I want to get your opinion on this like the most because it's like they had the highest paid coach in college football 2 years ago, I believe it was, and they've made a college football playoff. Not that many teams have done that. So it's like, why are you doing this to yourselves?
Okay, so I'll start out by saying this. As far as like coaching, like what coaches we want, like I feel like we could go out there and say we want this coach, we want this coach, and Greg might feel differently about this. And when you put it like that, technically, I guess Michigan State should be able to get any coach they technically want, right? If they want them, they should be able to get them. I personally don't see the football program like that. I don't necessarily know if Michigan State is a school that if they want somebody, they can get him. Especially now because we made the mistake of giving that horn dog $95 million. So it's like, we're not going to do that. Like, honestly, even if, throw a random name out, if Nick Saban wanted to come, we might be even reluctant to give him 95 million because we've been scorched. Like that is what it is. You're just going to be scared to do that again. But I don't know. I personally don't see Michigan State as like a we can get any coach we want type of school. And Greg might feel differently than that.
I do feel different to the premise. I think if I'm understanding what you're saying correctly, I think the reasons you believe Michigan State can't get any coach are different than my reasons for thinking they might have trouble with it. I don't think there's like to Dion's point, they made the playoff, they have the money. The Spartan athletic brand as a whole is probably one of the top 20 most valuable ones in college sports, in my opinion, just like overall. And basketball is a big part of that. But like, there are resources here. There's new facilities. There's a lot of stuff that's been pumped into what was Mel Tucker, but like that would be appealing to somebody big to take over here. I do believe this list is a poverty program list. Like I just do. If Mike Elko is the biggest name on your list, what are we doing here? Like I said, it felt like a Minnesota list a couple days ago. I don't know. It feels like a mid-major list. Like that, it just is what it is. And I know like fans are kind of throwing out some bigger names. We threw out some bigger ones. There's been like the Urban Meyer flirtations. I don't think that's realistic, but my stance has always been go get a veteran coach that's a big name, that's coached at other big programs. I think there's plenty of them across the country that you would have to hire away. But in my opinion, Michigan State is a position that could do that. Now, the one hesitation I have is I don't think people want to work with this administration. Like, I just think nobody trusts Michigan State's board of trustees right now. I don't think they trust the athletic director. Because of how they handled this. Like there are things coming out that are like the AD knew about this shit for months and didn't do anything. Like, and now they're airing his dirty laundry. Like, does any coach really want to go to some place where the board is going to air your dirty laundry? Like, it just seems iffy. And I do think like the biggest names would just be like, there's no way I'm coaching there, but there's a middle ground between the best we can get is the guy who is at Kent State and Nick Saban. Like, find someone in the middle of that.
Yeah, but who is that though?
I have a list.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
I have a 4 coach list, and I'm going to start from the most unrealistic and go to the 4th coach that I'm going to name. Like, if you say you don't think you could get him, you're just like, you're about as wrong as when you said you'd rather have almond milk than regular milk. I'm just going to be so the first coach, all these coaches make less than Mel Tucker made, by the way. So the first coach is Lane Kiffin. And the reason I think you guys could get him is A, he makes less than Mel Tucker. Ole Miss gave him like literally everything they possibly could to get him to stay this offseason. And he already can't compete in an SEC that doesn't include Texas and Oklahoma. So why would he stay there when they're on the way?
They're actually competing this year, though.
But like they're competing for Ole Miss. You guys made a college football playoff card. That's different types of
I
competing.
know, but like I also don't want to carry that like Michigan, we won this national championship back in 2000 energy. We did make the college football playoff. We got blasted, but we made it in like 2000. What was it? G13?
No, 15 maybe?
15?
15 or 16. 15 or 16.
15. Okay. Yeah, but I don't know. I've also like Lane Kiffin in general has always struck me as like a SEC guy. But
that's my biggest thing. I think he's a warm weather guy. I don't think he's coming to Michigan winners.
okay.
So that's the reason I think he's the most unrealistic is the weather.
But I like the energy on your list so far. I need this. I need the other three.
By the way, he's also a horn dog too, but like you ain't got to worry about him doing what Mel Tucker did. like I'll just put it that way. Chip Kelly, that's the second man. He's already going to the Big Ten anyway, so you can't really use the weather as like he doesn't want to coach in the cold because he's not going to have a choice. Like they're going to be playing on the road at Minnesota at some point anyway. I believe. So I looked the numbers up. This is again chaotic brain. I looked the numbers up. I thought I wrote them down. I didn't, but I believe he makes $5 million in comparison to Mel Tucker's 9.5.
Okay.
Thoughts, Cart?
I've never actually been the biggest Chip Kelly just guy in general, to be honest with you. I don't know. I think I maybe think pessimistically, is that the word? Pessimistically or negatively about guys leaving the place they're at to come to Michigan State. Like, are you leaving UCLA to come to Michigan State?
For a $4 million pay raise, you are. My list is under the assumption they would spend the same amount on this coach they spent on Mel Tucker.
Okay. And I'm also making the assumption that these schools would like be like, no. Like, I think if I'm UCLA, they had the money, they'd be like, I will match whatever Michigan State will pay you.
See, I don't think UCLA cares about football. I don't think they would match that.
Yeah, good point.
I like that call out. I do. I like just roster stuff. Like, is Chip Kelly going to leave superstar freshman quarterback though? But like that's a smaller thing.
He can come with them. He's from Michigan.
That's actually true. Okay, that's great. I might really like Chip Kelly. Who's number 3?
Okay, so the third one, and this one I think is only realistic because he literally said word for word, Colorado doesn't have the money to pay me. Deion Sanders. And to be fair, the most unrealistic part of this is every college should be making this same call because Colorado doesn't have the money to pay.
So do we think Deion's just out the moment he gets the Mel Tucker contract offer?
Yeah.
I don't think he is until his sons leave.
Well, why wouldn't they just go though?
They can't. It'll be 2-time transfer.
They get a waiver.
I don't know. NCAA is starting to really crack down on them waivers.
For Shedeur Sanders and Deion Sanders, that waiver will appear. Trust me.
I think he's the least likely on the list thus far, mostly because the waiver rule. But if once his kids are out, also like I don't know, does he want to coach after his kids leave? Isn't this kind of just like the family's moment and it's great?
I think he does. I think so. I don't know. I don't know his financial situation. I think a lot of those football players that played in the 80s and 90s have a lot less money than we think they have, though. So I do think, like, financially, I think unless Shedeur were to go like top 10, I think it makes a lot of sense for Deion Sanders to continue to coach, especially if he's going to be tossed $10 million.
Yeah. Colorado would hate Michigan State if they snipe Deion Sanders.
I think they already do, so.
Right.
I mean, look at the way, I don't know if you guys saw the video of the way he left Jackson State. It's on Well Off Media. Shout out to his son. I mean, he literally left in the middle of the night.
You got to make the call. You got to make the call. Okay. Who's the top of the list?
So here's the top of the list. I don't see how this guy says no. I don't think I'm saying his last name right, but if I am, shout out to me. Shout out to English. Kyle Whittingham, Utah.
That's Ben Cart's guy.
That's who I want.
Yeah.
Are they actually interested in him though, Cart? Like I haven't heard his name on any of the actual reports.
No, well, I don't know. But I don't see why we wouldn't be, especially because this is what it is for me. The candidates that are on the list and are being brought up, it's like they do what Kyle Whittingham does, but just not as good as Kyle Whittingham has done it. Like they talk about building a program, recruiting, playing well, like defensive teams, and just building a program that was not in a good place. Like Whittingham did that. And he's, you know, for me, it's even more impressive because, like, I think people brought up the Coach Smith from Oregon State. Like, Oregon State just got, good. Like, I think they won 8 games last year. Like, they were pretty good, but like every single year, Whittingham is going head to head with the USC's and the UCLA's, and for all the hype that USC is getting, Utah is the team that's winning the Pac-12. So, and all the hype that Oregon gets, it's Utah that's winning the Pac-12 and going to the Rose Bowl. So I really like Whittingham. We brought it up on one of the episodes, and Utah Hive came to our comments and said that that's the most ass thing to think about. Like, he would never leave us. He would never do any of this. And I'm like, okay, you're from Utah. I truly believe we can pull the rank like we're Michigan State and you're Utah.
He also makes him and Deion Sanders. By the way, Deion Sanders makes less than half of what Mel Tucker made and doesn't even know if Colorado can pay him. That's why I think it's realistic. But Kyle Whittingham also makes less than half what Mel Tucker makes. So to say he wouldn't leave is crazy. Money runs the world at the end of the day.
Yeah, if they spend money, it's got to be on somebody proven like that, though. Like if they're gonna hire Mike Elko, you gotta pay him nothing. If you're gonna hire one of these names, then yeah, bring the money cannons out. I think they should. Let me throw 3 quick names at you, then we'll move to the next one. So, along the lines of Dion's list, this is a guy I was wondering if you were gonna bust out at some point. Sonny Dykes, TCU. TCU kind of not looking as good as they were after they just lost Duggan. Like still there. The Big 12's changing. Some of the better teams are moving to the SEC. TCU's stuck in a Big 12 that I don't think anybody truly wants to be in anymore. He makes like $45 million right now, I believe. You'd have to pay him, but to me, that's like a guaranteed good coach that probably would leave for $70 million if Michigan State offered. Your thoughts, Cart?
I mean, but isn't he like one of those? I mean, he had the college football playoff run last year. He had Duggan and all them, but like outside of that, has he been that good? And I'm genuinely asking because I'm not familiar.
So he coached Cal, which I like. He was which I live by. He does this everywhere he goes. He gets to a school and immediately they're really good and they have a run. But then when that group of players leaves, he doesn't know how to do it again.
Don't know. That sounds a lot like Mel Tucker without Zoom. I mean, we got we got Kenneth Walker and them dudes, and had that one run, and then blew it after that.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, now here's the 2 doomsdays. I've talked to you guys about one of these 2. What I would do if I'm in the meetings at Michigan State on what do we do to hire a football coach is I reach out to all these mid-tier guys. I tell them we're interested. I don't have to rush to pay Mike Elko. I don't have to rush to pay any of these dudes. Just I'm interested. We'll call you at the end of the season. I wait until the end of the season, and I wait out 2 things. First, I see if Ohio State fires Ryan Day. Because if Michigan beats Ohio State, I believe they're going to fire Ryan Day. And if Ryan Day is available, that is absolutely my call immediately. Big Ten guy. We've seen Ohio State coaches go to other Big Ten schools. I think he would immediately take it. I don't think you'd have to pay him $90 million, but I think you'd have to pay him. But immediately that's the switch that happens. The guy's in the playoff pretty much every single year, even while losing to Michigan. Like his teams are going to win 9 games a year in the Big Ten. You guys don't like that. Cart, you hate Ryan Day.
I just think that Ryan Day, obviously he's the coach of the football team, and he has to do things and pull strings to make that program go. But I really think he's just a puppet for Ohio State football. All the work is done by the assistants, bringing in the talent and everything. If anything, Ryan Day really has to only do one thing right, and he's managed to blow that the past couple of years.
Counterpoint, Does it matter that he's a puppet? He's bringing his assistants with him. We want a good puppet. If the
Is
good
he
puppet
bringing?
wins 9
Is
games,
he? I don't know, because I feel like if Ryan Day leaves, they're going to give the job to Hartline, and really, I want Brian Hartline.
yeah, I don't know. Dion, what do you think?
Oh, well, I just want to say, if Ryan Day were to leave, that group of coaches that the list I made for you guys is immediately getting called by Ohio State, and they're not going to be afraid to spend the money. But I mean, he's better than any coach on you guys' list. Like, I don't. I mean, opinions of Ryan Day aside, like I'd rather have him than Mike Elko.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait, G, real quick. One wrench to kind of put in that thing. If we do wait, I guess, and these might be rumors, but there's already murmurs that if Jimbo at Texas A&M starts sputtering towards the end, like Elko is going to go to Texas A&M. They've already put feelers out for him.
Who cares? It's Mike Elko. Like I cannot say this enough. There are 1,000 Mike Elkos. There just are. Like
every coach you named on that list was Mike Elko before Mike Elko. You just said Sonny Dykes. Like Mike Elko just did exactly what Sonny Dykes just did.
Mike Elko went to the college football playoff?
I'm saying he's made a successful football team at Duke.
They lost 4 games in the ACC last year.
Okay, like the Sonny Dykes comment was a little bit too far. But what I'm saying is
they went 8-4 in the regular season in the ACC. That's not some milestone achievement. I get it. Like, he's at Duke. Duke's supposed to suck at football. They were a middle of the pack ACC football team. Like, maybe that's his ceiling. We don't know. Or maybe it's the sign of things to come. It's a crapshoot. I don't know. I'm just, if you want Mike Elko, you can get a Mike Elko anytime. You are Michigan State, man. Like, I don't get it. Like, I literally feel like I'm talking to you and you're just like willingly saying like, yeah, my football team's a poverty program. That's insane right now it is. To me.
It is.
They have more money than anyone, Carter.
It's a shitty situation. We're not bringing someone into a great spot.
Colorado just won 1 game last year and hired Deion Sanders for half the price that you guys are paying Mel Tucker. And
there's so much different stuff going on with what Deion's doing at Colorado outside of his actual salary. He's probably making more than any coach in the country right now, all in all.
Are we saying Boulder, Colorado? Boulder, Colorado is a bigger market than Michigan State?
I mean, it's not, but Deion is the market, right?
Which is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, you can do that for somebody else. Like, bring Deion Sanders in. But by the way, if Texas A&M was to choose Mike Elko over Jimbo Fisher, then you guys should just choose Jimbo Fisher. Like,
for sure, 100%. I would call Bob Huggins, honestly. At this point, like, just give me someone I trust in a locker room. The final doomsday scenario I had here, the same thing with Ryan Day, but let's just say it. I don't think it's going to happen, but it could. Bama doesn't want Nick Saban anymore. It could happen. If this team sputters to like a 7-5 season, which is absolutely possible with these quarterbacks, Saban probably is like, I don't want to do this anymore. So I would assume Saban, if he leaves Alabama, he doesn't want to coach anywhere else. That would be my belief. But also Saban is a petty MFer. Like, if Alabama sours on Saban, he probably doesn't want that to be the last note of his career. He wants to go out on his terms. He coached at Michigan State previously. You would have to make him the highest paid coach in the country to come coach at Michigan State. But I think Michigan State could do that. Is there any world where that happens at all?
I don't see it. I just don't see him leaving Bama ever. Like, even if he went 7-5, he's just not leaving Bama.
Why is everyone involved with Michigan State acting like this is Duke? That's like, what? Why? You guys?
I'm glad y'all think we can get Saban, but like, what do we talk? Like, we're just throwing out the best coaches in the country. I don't personally think that we can do that, but I'm glad that y'all think we can.
I'm not saying you could steal him from Bama if they want him. I'm saying I think there's a world Bama doesn't want him. Like, they need to have a bad year this year, but they are on pace for that. They almost lost to South Florida last week. Like, they literally might can him. Like, if Kirby Smart's just winning national championships and Nick Saban's going 7-5, they're gonna get rid of him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see a world where they get rid of him even if they go 7-5.
Okay.
Texas and Oklahoma on the way too. Like the
Yeah.
SEC is going to be a bloodbath next year. If you
I
can't win it
yeah.
this year, you're not winning it next year. There's no way.
I think that fan base is crazy. Like I think they would do some sort of quote unquote mutual parting of ways. Saban would be pissed.
That fan base is out of their mind. They lost that game, and I I looked up an article and they're showing like clips of the local Alabama news radio, and you would have thought they wanted Nick Saban stoned at noon on the Hill. Like they were livid.
Yeah,
I love that. I love that. I love that.
All right, great start to the show today. We did like 45 minutes on that. I love it. I love your list. Let's go to topic number 2. What do we got?